Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back to the last and final Daf of our Masechta, Maseches Kesubos. Says the Gemara on Daf Kuf Yud Beis, 2 lines from the top of the Amud. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. We were in the midst of a discussion describing the great beracha and abundance which Klal Yisrael featured in times gone by. We discussed the size of the fruit and vegetables, and in fact, it will return in the days to come, when we will re-experience that bracha. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Chelboy, Rabbi Avira, Rabbi Yisroel, these 3 Chachamim, Iklahu Lahu Asra, they came to this town. Aisu Kamayu, the townspeople presented them with a fruit, Av Farsaka, a large and oversized peach. How big? Dava ki ilfis. It was like this pot, Kfar Hinai, of this town called Kfar Hinai, which was an oversized pot or frying pan. The ilfas Kfar Hinai, the ilfas of this town, Kamahava, how big was it? Heis in, it could contain 5 sa. It was huge. And that's how big this peach was. Ochlu shlish, they had 1/3 of it. V'ifkiru shlish, they gave away 1/3. V'nosnu lifnei behemtan shlish, and the final 1/3 they fed to their animal. That's how big it was. What great bracha they experienced. That was this year. L'shana, the coming year, Ikla, Rabbi Lazar Lahasam, Rabbi Lazar comes and visits the same exact place, and apparently he had heard about the huge, oversized fruit that was being offered the year before. So he comes to the town, and they presented him as well with a peach, but this time it was way smaller. He was able to hold it with his hand. It fit into one hand. Amar, he said, look at what happened. Look what a downgrade this town had experienced. From one year to the next, it went down from huge to teeny. Eretz prila melecha meras yishvei badi, land produced forth salty fruit, inferior product, because of the ill deeds of the yeshvei ba, of the inhabitants. Look what happened. Look what the Averis can affect. Rabbi Shimon Levi, Ikla legavla, he came to the town Gavla. Chazinu lehanu ketufi, he noticed these clusters of grapes growing on their vines, and they appeared abnormal. The havu kaimiki igli, they appeared like calves. They were so big, like calves. Amar, he said, what are calves doing by the vines? Agolim ben akfanim? Amrulay, they said, no, these aren't animals. Ketufinin, these are the actual clusters. And he was impressed. And he said, but it's a waste. Amar, eretz, hachnisi pirasayach. Land, please, take back your produce. Limiat meitzia pirasayach. Why are you producing? Who are you producing this great abundance for, this great bracha l'Aravim, halal, these landowners, these Arabs, she'amdu aleinu b'chatoseinu, who have overtaken our land due to our averis? They're not deserving of this abundance. Lashana. In fact, the next year, Ikla Rabbi Chila Hasan Chia visited this town Gavla. Chazinu davukayim yikizi. He noticed the grape clusters appeared like, well, not like calves, but goats, pretty large, but relatively smaller. Omar, he said, well, what are goats doing between the vines? Izin ben akfanim, you have goats between your vines? Omar, they said, well, get away quickly. Zil, please leave. We don't want you to have the same effect on us as your friend, who sort of diminished our produce. Tan Rabban, when Eretz Yisrael is experiencing great bracha in its blessed period, look at how blessed it was. Basis, a relatively small plot of land, a basis where you can plant a saw of seeds. It would produce 5 myriad, 5 times 10,000 kur of produce, 50,000 kur. Wow. How do we know this? We're going to calculate this amount as follows. Because when Soyan was in its settled state, Soyan was this very fertile province of Mitzrayim. How much would a piece of land produce there? Base saw, 1 sa'ah of land, oisa shivim kurim, would produce 70 kur. How do I know? The Sanya, Amar Rebbe, Meir, Ani Re'isi, Bebikas Beis Sha'an. I noticed in the place called Beis Sha'an, which was outside Eretz Yisrael, Beis Saw, one Saw, Oisach Shivim Kurin produces 70. So we're assuming that Tzayin, which was a very fertile place, would produce at least that much. As Rabbi Meir noticed in Beis Sha'an, there is no more fertile place of land, plot of land, place of agriculture than Mitzrayim, the best of the best, right? The best amongst all other Aratzis. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Kigan Hashem, Ki Eretz Mitzrayim. Eretz Mitzrayim is equated to Hashem's garden, and within Eretz Mitzrayim there are levels. The best is Tzayin. Ve'en lecha me'ula b'chol Eretz Mitzrayim. Find me a greater, a more fertile place in Eretz Mitzrayim than Tzayin. Yosem Tzayin. Davu marbu mar melachim. They would raise their kings there. It was a very attractive place. T'chsiv, as the pasuk says, Ki hayu b'Tzayin sarav. The princes of Eretz Yisrael would go down and court, the kings of Mitzrayim who would hang out in Tzayin. That was a place to raise their princes, their kings. It was a very, very desirable place, very fertile, productive, and very blessed. So that plot of land in Tzayin produced 70 kur per saw, right? At least that much. On the other hand, what is the lowest, most inferior grade piece of land in Eretz Yisrael? That's Chevron, where they have lots of stones. In the Chatroshim Eretz Yisrael, you can't find me a more rocky place in Eretz Yisrael than Chevron. Yosim Chevron. In fact, the Havu Kavr Bashikhi was used to bury mason, not to grow a crop. So the worst place in Eretz Yisrael was way better than the best in Mitzrayim. Even though Chevron was of such inferior quality, Chevron mevuna al achas mishiva b'tzayin. Chevron was 7 times better in terms of being fertile and blessed than Tzayin. T'chsev, as the pasuk says, v'Chevron sheva shanim nivnasa l'fnei Tzayin Mitzrayim. The simple meaning of which would sound like Chevron was built 7 years before Tzayin Mitzrayim, and that's impossible. My Nivnasa, what do we mean by Nivnasa? Ilem and Nivnasa Mamish was actually settled 7 years before Mitzrayim. Efshar Adam Boina Baisel B'nei Katan. We know that Cham had several kids, the youngest of which was Canaan. So it's hard to believe that he would build Chevron, which is part of Eretz Canaan, for his youngest son before he would take care of Mitzrayim, who was an older son. Efshar Adam Boina Bais Libnei Katan. Can it be that a person would build for his younger son, in this case Canaan, in this case Chevron for Canaan, Koidem Shivne Libnei Gad, before he would accommodate his older son's needs? Shanamar Bnei Cham, who are the children of Cham? You have Cush, Mitzrayim, second to the oldest, and then you have a Put or Canaan. So hard to believe he would have taken care of Canaan before Cush. Hard to believe that he built Chevron, which was part of Canaan, 7 years before Tzayin, which was part of Mitzrayim. Ella, rather, the pasuk means like this: Chevron is Mevuna, is built 7 years before Tzayin. It means Ella Mevuna. It was blessed. It was of higher quality. Al achas mishiva b'tzayin, 7 times more than Tzayin. So in terms of crop producing ability, we know that Chutz La'aretz produces 70 kur per crop, as we found in Beis Sha'an. Certainly Tzayin, which was the best place to grow crops, would have that type of yield. Chevron, the worst place in Eretz Yisrael, was 7 times more fertile, more blessed than Tzayin. 7 times 70 kur is 490 kur per besa. That applies to rocky terrain. But if it's a better terrain in Eretz Yisrael, more suitable for farming, you would assume that it does even a little bit better than that. Instead of 490 kur, you have 500 kur per besa. That's when things are, running normally without any special bracha. So it's 500 kur per besa. But when we have a special bracha, when it's in its blessed state, way more than that, even 100 times more than that. And what did he discover? it yielded 100 times more than it would ordinarily yield. So you have standard is 500 kur per beisah. Multiply that by 100, you have 50,000 kur. Tanya, Rabbi Yossi, Sa'ah Yehuda, Emir Sa'ah of wheat in the Yehuda territory, after it was soaked and went into production and it absorbed the moisture because it was so fatty and moisturous and porous and high quality. So explains the Ben Yehuda, it would actually grow in size. It would become 5 times as much. So one sa'ah, you started with one amount of wheat. It would produce 5 sa'ah of products. Sa'ah kemach, a sa'ah of ordinary flour. Sa'ah silas, another sa'ah of high quality flour. Sa'ah subin, a sa'ah of plain thin bran. Sa'ah mursin, a sa'ah of thicker bran. Sa'ah kiburia, a sa'ah of some sort of whole wheat situation. So one sa'ah can get you 5 times as much upon production. That's how high quality the wheat was. A certain Tzeduki turned to Rabbi Chanina. You have full justification. It makes much sense that you praise, you compliment your land. It's very fertile and productive. Look, Beis Sa'ah, Achas, Hinech Abba. My father left behind for me just one plot of land, one sa'ah. Look what's going on there. Mimena Mishach, I draw from their oil. Mimena Chamar, it's a multifaceted, multi-talented piece of land. It produces oil, it produces wine. Mimena Mishach, I get oil from there. Mimena Chamar, I get wine from there. Mimena Ibor, I get grain from there. Mimena Kitnias, I get beans. Mimena Royas Miknasi, likewise, it accommodates my animal grazing needs. Amalei, Hahubar Emirah, there was an Emorite, a fellow who had predated Klal Yisrael's arrival into Eretz Yisrael. So this Amori turned to the newcomer, the Jewish visitor who arrived into Eretz Yisrael, the Bar Arad Yisrael. He says, look, hi Talasa, I have a question. That certain date tree, that palm tree, the Kaima Aguda de Yarda, which is situated at the edge of the Jordan River. Tell me something. Kama Kadrisu Mina, how much did you, how many dates did you get from that tree? Amarle, he says, a huge amount. Shitin Kuri, 60 kur. Amarle, he says, wow, that's not much. Akati, Loya Elisu, you've barely, entered Eretz Yisrael. Loya Elisu, Ba, Achrev Yisrael, you've already destroyed it, you've already brought about destruction. Only 60 kur, that's nothing. Anan, when we picked from that tree, Meya ve'esrim kuri, hava gajrina mina, we would harvest 120 kur from that same tree. What did you do to the tree? Amalei says, no, you got me wrong. Ano, nami, I too. I described to you what I took from one side, of course. Only one side produced 60, but there are 60 more waiting on the other side for a total of 120 kur from one single palm tree. That takes us to the next drush. Amar Rav Chisda. What did the pasuk mean when it says, "Ve'etein lecha eretz chemdo nachlas tzvi"? Eretz Yisrael is compared to a tzvi, a deer. Lama Eretz Yisrael nimshel tzvi. What's the comparison between Eretz Yisrael and a deer? Lama lecha teaches you as follows: Ma tzvi, just as a deer. Ma tzvi zeh ein oiroi machzak besari. His hide can't accommodate his flesh. Once you flay the animal, you remove its flesh, its skin. You no longer can wrap it back around its skin. It sort of shrinks. Likewise, Eretz Yisrael, Af Eretz Yisrael, Eina Machzekas Peraseo, can't accommodate its produce. You have to export some of it because of its abundance. It can't hold that much. Davarach, another pshat. Matzvi Zekal, Mikol Achais, just as this deer is lighter and faster running than the other animals. Af Eretz Yisrael, Kal Mikol Arotzes, likewise Eretz Yisrael, in terms of the speed in which it produces its produce, is quicker and more efficient than all the other animals, just like the deer runs faster than all the other chayus. Lavashal speraseh, in terms of ripening its fruit. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, if you're equating it to a deer, perhaps just as the deer is a light running, a quick running animal, that's the upside. But it doesn't have such luscious and tasty and fatty flesh. Eretz Yisrael, likewise, Eretz Yisrael does a quick express job, but low quality fruit. Kalo, lavashal, certainly it produces very quickly, but it doesn't have such luscious fruit. The answer is no. Talmud Leimar, zavas cholav advash, shmeinim echolav fattier than milk, umusukim advash, and even sweeter than honey. The following story occurred with Rabbi Elazar. When he came up to Eretz Yisrael, Amar, he declared, Palti li mechada, I was spared from one of the curses applied to leaders in Klal Yisrael during Golus, unworthy leaders, and I'm spared that klala. I'm going to explain in a minute. Ki samchu, when he was certified as a Rebbe, as a Mumcha, as a Dayan, Omar, he said, oh, there goes another klala. Palti li mitati, I was spared another potential curse. Ki Kesubos said that Ibor, when he was included in the Ibor deliberations, when they would discuss whether or not to make a leap year, he was included in that discussion. Omar, he said, wow, Palti li mitlas, I was now spared of all three potential curses. Shanamar, as the pasuk says, V'oiseh yodeh, Hashem says, my hand will apply itself El hanavim achosim shav, to these false prophets, and they will have all three things against them. B'soid ami lo yu, they will not be included in the secrets of my nations. They will not be privy to the information of the Soida Ibor. Ubuksav beis Yisrael lo yikasu. What does that mean? Smicha, they will not be included in the book of Smicha. Vel atmas Yisrael lo yivoyu, they will not reach Eretz Yisrael k'mashmoi, as a simple meaning. Rabbi Zera ki havasol Eretz Yisrael. So we started yesterday's daf with Rabbi Zera journeying to Eretz Yisrael, when in fact he arrived to the Jordan River. Lo yashkich mabra, he couldn't find a ferry to take him across. Lemaver, he was in a hurry. He had no time to waste. Who knows what could happen between now and then? He quickly rushed across using some improvised method. Nokat b'matri, grabbed hold of that rope, which was strung from one side of the river to the other, alongside this sort of improvised bridge, this plank of wood. He grabbed hold of that rope, and he crossed on that plank of wood. Amar le'ah with Stuki. This Stuki noticed him doing that, crossing in haste. He says, Ama Paziza, you're from a hasty nation. Dikadmichu pumaychu, you allowed your expression, your mouth, to proceed, to jump ahead, Lod Naichat, your ears. Way back when you said Nasav and Ishma, you've committed yourself even before you knew what was coming. Akat, you're still in that same frenzy, you're still frenzied and harried. What are you running across? Wait for the boat to come, and he'll come across like a mensch. Amalei. Reb Zera wasn't left standing. He says to him, look, I am in a hurry. Duchta, look, Eretz Yisrael is a place. The Moshe V'Aaron, even the great leaders, Moshe V'Aaron Le'Zochule, did not merit experiencing Eretz Yisrael. They didn't get into Eretz Yisrael, Ana, by me, myself, who says I'm going to be Zoicha? You never know what can happen. You know, so Sharm writes, part of Zrizas is to jump quickly into your project. Don't allow any time to pass. You never know what can happen from now to then. Even in 10 minutes, it's has all kinds of ploys and methods to derail things. Look, I'm here. I'm coming across by hook, by crook. Rabbi Abba, when he arrived at Eretz Yisrael, Menashek Kipid Akka, he would kiss the boulders of Akka, which was situated at the boundary of Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Chanina, Maskin Miskali, when he would see some rocks out of place presenting a pitfall, some sort of potholes they would call today, he would even it out. Why? Says Rashi on the bottom line. Misakein miskali, mishave misakein michshelir. If there's any pitfalls, he would fix them up. Machmas chibas ars, because of his dearness to Eretz Yisrael. He didn't want anybody to badmouth Eretz Yisrael. Shoysa chaviva olav umechazer. He would seek to do things shelo yetzi shem ra al hadrachim, lest people get a negative perception of Eretz Yisrael. Bumpy roads, he would smooth them out. He would straighten them out himself. Continues the Gemara. Rav Ami Rav Asi on the same note. When they were experiencing the heat of sun, they would take the people over to the shade. They were sitting in the shade and it got too cool. They would bring everybody over to the sunny side so that nobody gets a negative perception of Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Chimar Gamda, Migarda Ba'afra, he would roll in the earth of Eretz Yisrael. Shenemar ki ratza v'dechas havaneo. Your servants considered the stones of Eretz Yisrael dear to them, v'safori chanenu, and they would grace, they would love the earth of Eretz Yisrael. Amar B'Zera, Amar B'Yirmiyah, Barabba, Dor sheben David ba, the generation which will merit Ben David, Mashiach Ben David's arrival. Categoria beTalmidei Chachamim, it will feature great opponents who will oppose Talmidei Chachamim. Rav Zera speaking, when I presented this to Shmuel, Omar, he said even more. Tziruf achat tziruf, the Talmid Chacham will undergo a purification process. After another purification process, it will be Gzera Chagzera, says Rashi. It will be one decree after the other. They will experience great difficulty to test their absolute loyalty and commitment to Torah. Shenamar va'oid ba'Assyria, describing in the future a situation where barely any Torah learners will remain, barely 10% in Assyria, and even they will have it difficult. V'shava v'ashel levar, they will experience destruction and difficulty. Tani Rav Yosef bezuzi, they will be robbed. Ubezuzi the bezuzi, and robbed again, meaning they will experience much difficulty, but ultimately their commitment to Torah will shine out. It was just meant to test their loyalty to Hashem and to Torah, and they in fact will be the catalyst to the coming of Mashiach. Omar Rab Chia bar Ashi, Omar Rab Asidin. When Mashiach comes, Kolilan Yisrak, even the non-fruit-producing trees, Sheberetz Yisrael, will produce fruit as well. Ramesha Feinstein writes, it's a reference to even Rishoyim, who nowadays don't do much good. But ultimately, they will also be considered fruit-producing trees. Sheitanu Peres, Shenemar Ki Eitz Nasa Peria. This is a non-producing eitz, will produce fruit, and of course the Te'en of a Geffen, they will produce as well. Nasnu Chelam. So what did we learn today? We described the bracha that was present way back when, in the days of old, in Eretz Yisrael, which unfortunately nowadays was diminished, but certainly we are promised that the bracha will ultimately return with the coming of Mashiach. Meher b'meinu amen. Hadran aloch, shnei dayon exeris, u'slikel mesechas Kesubos. May Hashem give us much shiata d'shmaya to continue on with our Torah learning, with our daf yomi, with happiness, satisfaction, with geschmack, with bracha b'atzlacha, gesund and nachas from our children, ad v'yas goyel tzedek. Meher b'meinu amen. It's been a pleasure learning together. Zay gesund.
Sis besoy sato yiro ki hilo nu was the yiro oh yiro no yiro sis besoy sato yiro ki hilo nu was the yiro I know you know sis besoy sato yiro ki hilo nu was the yiro oh yiro no yiro sis besoy sato yiro ki hilo nu was the yiro No, you know what's in the